When Jonna Henningsson met Jonas Albin, their relationship was perfect for a while. They were in constant contact with each other, he gave her compliments, and they planned their future together. Jonas soon became Jonna's world, and he was almost like a drug to her. But when Jonas started withdrawing from Jonna, she was upset and could not stop thinking about him. So when Jonna found out about Jonas' other girlfriend, their relationship and her obsession with him took a dark turn. This is the case of the triangle drama that ended in murder. So hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Elin and on this channel I cover true crime cases that have occurred in the Nordic countries. Some content warnings before we start this case. This video will include talks about mental health problems, miscarriage and self-harm, so if that's something that you don't want to watch then I suggest you click out of this video right now. I also want to point out that I have been sick and my voice is still not fully recovered, so I hope that that's not super annoying in the video. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and now let's get into the case that happened in Sweden. Jonna Henningsson was born on the 12th of September 1989 in Kumla in Sweden. She had 3 siblings and she was the youngest one of them. Jonna was described as a normal girl who loved horses, and this was her biggest interest and passion in life. In school, she was popular, and friends describe her as a social, happy, caring, and regular girl. Jonna's parents got divorced in the year of 2000, and after that, she lived with her mom and siblings but still saw her dad regularly. She was said to have a pretty stable upbringing with a lot of friends, and she had good grades and graduated from high school in the year of 2008. After this, she started working as a personal assistant and had a pretty stable economy. Her dream was to one day become a doctor or a veterinarian. Jonna was living outside of Kumla in Sweden in a house that she had bought with her ex-boyfriend, but apparently they were both still living in this house. The ex-boyfriend describes their relationship as hard since Jonna was very jealous, could not take no for an answer, and would sometimes threaten to end her own life if she did not get what she wanted. Jonna also suffered from something called adjustment disorder or stress response syndrome, which is a trauma and stress-related disorder. This disorder is usually described as having strong reactions to unexpected situations. Usually people with this syndrome react with anxiety, depression, or acting out, but the symptoms can be very individual. This made it hard for Jonna to realize the consequences of her actions, and she could often be very impulsive. On the 29th of May 2013, Jonna was out in a club and she met a man called Jonas Albin, and she straight away fell for this man. The day after, they started talking on Facebook and they added each other as friends. They soon started meeting each other and they met around once a week, usually at Jonas' place. And when they did not meet each other, they were constantly in contact with each other and talking on the phone. Soon they started a relationship. In the beginning of the relationship, everything was fantastic and Jonas gave Jonna a lot of compliments, talked about their future, and so on. She has afterwards said that he was like a drug to her and that he was her whole world. Around Christmas 2013, things started to change between them as he became more cold towards her and stopped contacting her. She could feel that he was not as interested anymore, and this made her upset since she loved him very much and wanted to be with him. Jonna started going out and partying a lot, and Jonas left for a vacation to Thailand for a couple of weeks. Jonas and Jonna were texting during this time, and it seemed like he missed her, so Jonna thought that everything was good between them, but she was still very confused by his behavior. When Jonas came back from his vacation, they saw each other and everything seemed normal, so Jonna asked him straight up why he sometimes were so sweet to her and sometimes so cold to her. He did not answer anything and they just went to bed after that. The next night, Jonna went out partying with friends and she was drinking a lot, so she just suddenly decided to visit Jonas' apartment. He was not happy about this, and suddenly he got a phone call, and the phone call was from another girl. The girl calling was Jonas' childhood friend, Lovisa Lindh, and he was actually dating this girl. Some sources said that they had been dating for many years. So, Lovisa Lindh was a 22-year-old girl who grew up in a small town in Sweden. She lived with her mom after her parents divorced when she was only 5 years old. Lovisa was described as a happy, positive, and popular person who was not afraid of expressing her opinions. She was very interested in cars and she started working in a zinc mine in 2012 where Jonas was also working. Jonas told Lovisa that his ex was in his apartment drunk, and Lovisa did not like this, so she decided to come to his apartment. He decided to drive Jonna home, but when they sat down in the car, Lovisa already arrived at his place. Jonas still drove Jonna home, but he was very angry at her, so they actually did not talk for a couple of months after this. During this time, Jonna was angry and upset, and she was thinking about him a lot. Jonna did not feel good physically or mentally anymore, and she stopped riding horses. So 3 to 4 months after this, Jonas contacted Jonna again and they started talking. Jonna slept at Jonas' place daily and everything was once again fantastic. Apparently, he was not in contact with Lovisa at this point in time. A month after they started seeing each other, Jonna visited Germany for a wedding for a few days and they were still in contact constantly. Jonna did, however, see Jonas' Snapchat list and she could see that he had been in contact with Lovisa again. This felt hard for her, and when she came back to Sweden, she started feeling unwell, so she took a pregnancy test. The pregnancy test showed that she was pregnant, and she had not planned this at all since they had a very toxic relationship that was pretty much on and off all the time. When she told Jonas about her pregnancy, he was not happy about this and he asked her to do an abortion as fast as possible. She was understandably not happy with his reaction, but she decided to book a time for the abortion. But she had not done it yet, and a couple of weeks later, she was still pregnant. Jonas was nicer towards her since he thought that she did the abortion, but soon he found out that she was still pregnant and he then told her that he wanted to continue a relationship with only Jonna. She was on top of the world during this time and super happy about their relationship, and their relationship was the best that it had ever been. Suddenly, Jonna started bleeding and she actually had a miscarriage, and the relationship continued as normal. One night, when they were watching a movie, Jonas' phone called and it was Lovisa. He tried to apologize, but Jonna was understandably upset and he left her place. Soon after this, Jonna texted him and tried to make him come back, but he then answered that he wanted to be by himself. Later that week, she called him and told her that she had had complications from the miscarriage, but this was not true and she actually just said this to make him feel sorry for her. She even went as far as cutting her own belly and stitch it together to make it look like she had a scar from the operation. He believed this and they slept together that night, but the day after he asked for his key back. Jonas asking for his key back was some kind of breaking point for Jonna, as she just knew that Jonas wanted to go back to Lovisa and therefore she started making a plan as she wanted Lovisa gone from Jonas' life. The night between the 17th and the 18th of June 2014, Jonna slept badly. The next day, she left the house early, and with her she had a hammer, 2 injections that she had used for her horses, a bottle of vodka, sleeping medications, and a kitchen knife. She arrived at Jonas' apartment and described having 2 options. Either she would hit Lovisa with the hammer and Lovisa would understand that she needs to stay away from him, or then she would threaten her with a knife and inject her with sleeping medication. She waited outside of Jonas' apartment and soon Lovisa got out of there and Jonna just hit her in the head with the hammer. Lovisa fell down sitting on the stairs and just screamed and cried, so Jonna kept on hitting her as she just wanted her to be quiet. She then dragged her into the toilet in the empty apartment, and Lovisa was just fighting for her life. A neighbor started ringing on the doorbell as she had heard the screams coming from the apartment. Jonna then took a towel and put it over Lovisa's face to make her quiet, and after that she took the injection with sleeping medication and pushed it into Lovisa's neck, but it broke. Jonna then went to get a sharp knife, and she described trying to tell Lovisa to stop screaming, but she just continued. Because Lovisa did not stop, Jonna stabbed her with a knife, and then it was all silent. Jonna then went home to shower, and she came back with big plastic bags and a saw. On the way there, she was actually stopped by the police and got a ticket for speeding. Back in the apartment, she started cutting Lovisa's body and put the pieces into the plastic bags and just put them in the trunk of her car. After that, Jonna just cleaned the apartment, and she wrote Jonas a note saying that she came to get her stuff. At some point during the day, she had bumped into the neighbor who knocked on the door earlier, and the neighbor asked if Jonas was possibly abusing her. So she knocked on the neighbor's door before leaving and told them that Jonas did not have a part in what happened and that it had been her and another girl fighting. She also called her sister and told her that she had been fighting with another girl and that there had been a knife involved, and then she left the apartment, and when she came back the girl was gone. Later in the day, Jonas called Jonna and asked if she had seen Lovisa, and she answered that she did not know where she was. She then took her car and drove into the forest and started digging a shallow grave. She did not dig very far as she was very tired, but she did put the stuff that she had used as well as Lovisa's body into the ground. She then called her sister again, and her sister actually convinced her to call the police. So she called the police and told them the same story that she had told her sister before, that she had a triangle drama and they got into a fight, and then she ended up stabbing her and left. So two policemen came to Jonna's apartment and took her to Jonas' apartment to show them what had happened. The police were skeptical, and Jonna soon broke down and told them that she killed Lovisa in self-defense. The police arrested her, and during the trial, the prosecution tried to show that the crime was premeditated. She had Googled how to kill someone in the easiest way, among other things, before the murder. Jonna said that she could not fully remember what had happened that day, but she claimed that it was not a planned attack. By Lovisa's injuries, it was clear that Jonna had been very violent, and Lovisa had been alive during the time that Jonna used various instruments on her before killing her. Jonna had also been very cold towards Lovisa and showed absolutely no remorse. The motive was jealousy, and Jonna was hoping to be in a relationship with Jonas after the incident. Psychological evaluations showed that Jonna was mentally ill, but not so bad that it would lead to a murder or get her into a mental facility. Psychologists have also pointed out that an upbringing where Jonna was not allowed to show her emotions might be an explanation to why she committed a murder in a stressful situation. On the 19th of December 2014, Jonna Henningsson got her sentence, which was 16 years in prison. She actually appealed this sentence, and she then got life in prison, meaning that she is in prison to this day. But that's all that I have for this case, and this case is just so crazy to me. I truly don't understand how you can actually kill someone out of jealousy. Like, I understand that people can be jealous, but to actually go as far as killing someone for it is just so crazy to me. My heart goes out to Lovisa's family because they are the ones suffering the most for what happened, and Lovisa was just totally innocent. She probably loved Jonas just as much as Jonna did, and she did not deserve what happened to her. But I'm gonna wrap up this case here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I will see you in my next case. Goodbye, everyone.